You have 100 quail eggs sitting on your counter right now, and in 10 days, most of them will be garbage. Not an exaggeration, not a worst-case scenario. That is the default outcome if you do nothing. And here's what makes it worse. Even if you only have a small covey of quail, production spikes faster than most families can realistically use. You don't need 200 birds for this to be a problem. 20 birds in peak spring laying will outpace the average household within 2 weeks. In 2026, with feed costs at record highs, throwing away protein is the same as throwing away the money you spent producing it. But here's what almost nobody in the backyard farming community is talking about. There is a method used for centuries that can make those eggs last a full 12 months. No refrigeration, no electricity, no special equipment. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to do it. Stick with me, because the chemistry behind this is actually fascinating. And the economic play at the end of this video might be the most underrated strategy in small-scale farming right now. Let's start with the real problem, because most people don't see it until it's too late. Spring quail production is brutal in the best way. Your birds are laying at peak capacity. You're collecting eggs faster than you can eat them, sell them, or give them away. It feels like abundance, and it is. But it's a temporary abundance with an expiration date baked in. Here's the biology. And this is the part most people never learned in school. Quail eggs, unlike chicken eggs, have a thinner shell and a proportionally smaller protective cuticle, that invisible natural coating on the outside of every fresh egg. That cuticle is your egg's first line of defense against bacteria and oxygen. The moment you wash an egg, you strip that cuticle away. The moment air starts moving through those tiny pores in the shell, the contents begin to degrade. At room temperature, an unwashed quail egg lasts maybe 2 to 3 weeks. In the refrigerator, you get 4 to 6 weeks on a good day. After that, sulfur, spoilage, waste. Now multiply that across 50, 100, 200 eggs. That's not a storage problem. That's a financial leak. And in 2026, when you're paying more per pound of feed than you were 2 years ago, every egg that ends up in the trash is feed cost with zero return. The mindset shift that changes everything is this. Stop thinking about egg production as a weekly output. Start thinking about it as a seasonal asset you can bank. So how do you bank it? This is where it gets interesting. The method is called water glassing, and the active ingredient is something you can buy at almost any farm supply store for about $3. It's called hydrated lime, also known as calcium hydroxide or pickling lime. The same food-grade compound used in tortilla making, water treatment, and traditional food preservation across dozens of cultures for hundreds of years. Here's what it does. And this is the part that sounds almost fake until you understand the chemistry. When you dissolve hydrated lime in water, it creates a highly alkaline solution, pH somewhere between 11 and 12. At that level, almost nothing biological survives. Bacteria can't grow. Mold can't form. Oxygen exchange through the shell is essentially shut down. But here's the part that surprised me the first time I read the research. The alkaline environment doesn't just block external threats, it actually reinforces the cuticle itself. It doesn't replace it, it strengthens it. The shell pores get sealed by a microscopic layer of calcium carbonate reaction products. The egg enters a state of suspended preservation. Whites stay clear, yolks stay centered. Nutritional profile holds for 12 months. Now compare that to your other options. Refrigeration slows degradation. It doesn't stop it. Freezing destroys texture in ways that make quail eggs nearly useless for whole egg applications. Freeze drying works but requires equipment that costs hundreds of dollars and hours per batch. Water glassing costs $3 in 20 minutes. There is no serious competition once you run the numbers. Now let me walk you through the actual protocol. Pay close attention to the first step, because this is where most people make the mistake that ruins the entire batch. You must start with unwashed eggs that still have their cuticle intact. This is non-negotiable. If you've already washed your eggs, water glassing will not preserve them safely for extended periods. The cuticle and the alkaline solution work together. One without the other is incomplete. So starting today, stop washing your eggs. A dry brush to remove debris is fine. Water is not. Collect within 24 hours of laying, ideally less. The goal is to get them into solution while the cuticle is at full strength and before any bacterial infiltration begins. Now, and this is a step most tutorials skip entirely, but it matters more with quail than with any other bird. Candle your eggs before they go in the crock. Grab a flashlight in a dark room and hold each egg up to the light. You're looking for hairline cracks, microfractures that are completely invisible to the naked eye in normal light. With quail eggs, because the shells are significantly thinner than chicken shells, microcracks are far more common than most people expect. Here's why this matters. One cracked egg in your solution doesn't just ruin that egg. It compromises the entire batch. Contents seep out, the solution gets contaminated, and you lose everything in that crock. Only perfect shells go in. For the solution, 1 ounce of food-grade hydrated lime to 1 quart of filtered or distilled water. Not tap water. Chlorine and minerals in municipal water interfere with the reaction chemistry. Mix thoroughly until fully dissolved. The solution will look slightly milky, that's correct. Your container. This matters more than people think. Traditional water glassing was done in ceramic crocks. Heavy, straight-sided, wide mouth. Ceramic doesn't react with the alkaline solution the way metal does. It's stable. Wide mouth means you can retrieve eggs without cracking them on the rim. Food-grade plastic buckets work, glass works, metal does not. Place eggs pointy end down before adding the solution. This keeps the air cell at the top where it naturally sits, reducing structural stress during long storage. Submerge everything by at least 1 inch of liquid. Cover with a lid or cheesecloth. Label it with the date, month and year, every single time. No exceptions. Now, where you store this is just as important as how you make it. And this is the detail that separates the batches that last 12 months from the ones that go wrong at month 4. You want consistently cool, 50 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and dark. A root cellar is perfect. A cool basement corner works. Under an unheated staircase works in many climates. What destroys batches is temperature fluctuation. Every warm-cool cycle creates micro-expansion and contraction at the shell level. Over months, that stress compounds. Check your container every 2 to 3 weeks. The solution should stay slightly milky or clear. Pink, orange, or foul smell means discard the entire batch. No exceptions. Keep eggs fully submerged and top off with fresh lime water as evaporation occurs. Any egg that floats, remove it immediately. Floating means compromised shell integrity. That egg is no longer safe regardless of the solution around it. For rotation, oldest batch gets used first. April eggs open before May eggs. Mark by month, stack oldest in front. This is the difference between a working preservation system and a guessing game. Here's something worth pausing on for a second, because I want to address the skeptics in the comments before they get there. Yes, this sounds too simple. Yes, it sounds too cheap. Yes, it sounds like something your great-grandmother would do, not something with legitimate food science behind it. But here's the reality. Water glassing was the primary egg preservation method used by American and European households through both world wars. It wasn't used because people had no options. It was used because it worked consistently when everything else failed. What changed isn't the method. What changed is that cheap refrigeration made people forget it existed. In 2026, with energy costs rising and more people building serious food resilience into their homesteads, it's coming back. And the people who understand it now are ahead of the people who will discover it later. Let's talk about what you actually get on the other end. Because if you've never cracked open a water-glassed egg after 8 or 10 months, you might be expecting something that tastes like a compromise. It doesn't. The texture is almost indistinguishable from a fresh egg. The white is slightly firmer. Some people actually prefer it for hard boiling. The yolk is intact, centered, bright. The flavor is clean. No off-taste, no sulfur, no staleness. For scrambles, frittatas, baking, pickling in a second brine, all of it performs exactly the way you'd expect from a fresh egg. The one limitation, don't use them raw in high-end presentations. After long storage, the white is just firm enough that cracking one tableside or over a tartare isn't ideal. For everything else, you won't notice the difference. Now here's the economic play. And I want to be precise about this because most people get the math completely backwards. During winter, your birds naturally lay less. That's not a problem. That's actually your biggest commercial opportunity of the year. Fresh quail eggs in November and December sell at a significant premium. The farms that can supply fresh eggs during the holiday season are the ones setting the price, not chasing it. Here's the strategy. Use your preserved spring eggs to feed your household all winter long. Every egg your family eats from October through February comes out of your crock, not off your collection tray. That means 100% of your fresh winter production goes directly to your highest value buyers. You're essentially eating for free while selling into the most profitable market of the year. That's not a side effect of this method. That's the entire strategy. And it's the difference between a farm that reacts to seasons and a farm that profits from them. One last thing, and I'll keep this short because it's worth saying clearly. This method is not new. Farmers were water glassing eggs through both world wars when refrigeration wasn't available or reliable. What's new is that people with small flocks in 2026, dealing with modern feed costs and real market conditions, are rediscovering it and applying it with a precision the original practitioners never had. You have production data. You have market access. You have the ability to track your flock's cycles and your local seasonal pricing. You can turn this from a survival tactic into a deliberate competitive advantage. That's the shift. Here's exactly what to do right now. Get food-grade hydrated lime, pickling lime, at any farm supply store or online. Pick up a ceramic crock or food-grade bucket. Stop washing your eggs today. Candle the next batch before it goes in, and follow the protocol. If this was useful, subscribe. We cover practical, no-nonsense strategies for small-scale farming that actually move the needle on profitability. And if you've water glassed before, drop your results in the comments. How long did you store them? How did they turn out? The eggs you collect this week don't have to expire in a month. They can be feeding your family and funding your farm all the way through December. That's the whole idea.